Hey people, I got y'all some treasure here, and I'm gonna gift you the treasure is ledge and the treasure bread trees. TRAE is TRES. You see that on the third day. And I'm gonna get you a key to get this treasure out that is laid up with me and sealed up amongst my treasures. So God talked to me again yesterday. It come in the form of one of my subscription channels, and they were trying to interpret this King James version, and so I had to go have a look at it. And it brought me here Deuteronomy 32:28. And for a nation void of counsel, they are, and not in them understanding. And so this word for understanding is tabuni. And so Booney is the language. I was telling you yesterday, that there's a lot more code in this word. It means more than just the tour. And it tells the language in Boonish, A-E, Ash. It's in Boonish. And so this is why, in them, the understanding, there are the Boonies. And that's what, Southern by the grace of God means. By the grace of God, we speak Boone. And so when I had seen that, I had to keep on reading. And I read on the rest of this chapter, and, it's just before Moses dies. And he's given up all the secrets he's telling the kid. You see at the end of this chapter, Moses' death foretold, and there's just 2 more chapters for his death. And so this taboon, it's reading to be an MT, mit, to be with, boon. And you look at the next line, you'll see this understood has a total different base of skill. And to look 'em whose skill was at. The skill was at IV Nu Lacridum of a cridum. And this is a good chapter to read to see the code, the poison of serpents of the dust. When you hear these words in the King James, it means the commits. And chili to kill. Chili is the commander of the army, and commits chili offer, the death offer, the poison of serpents of dust. And I could spend a month in this chapter showing you things, but I'm going to concentrate here on this treasures. And so the treasures comes from this word being read backwards, and you see it often a lot smaller, just starting with this A. It would be the base word here. And so it often reads backwards, being it starts with the A, and it often has a tack in front of it and reads backwards and forwards. And so it comes from the turts. And the turt is that big black X on the ground that Wile E. Coyote's trying to get Roadrunner to stand on. Is a turt. It usually looks like this, starts with the A and read backwards, is the Turx, the turts, Turts. And it's the mark and then where X. The mark where X is where the treasure goes. And they're actually getting this word treasure from the trees, the TRAE, the tres. And getting the treasure by tongue and lying in the fantasy fleeting of those who seek death. And so that was the treasure, everybody who seek death, to know the meaning of life. You don't know the meaning of life until you understand the meaning of death. This is Turt here. It's the Egyptian symbol for a city or town, and they'll call it Newt. And these Egyptologists, they don't know dick. It's where the word city comes from. The first Sumerian city was they call it and it's not it's where the city that never sleeps, New York. Where it's happening, where, W-R, not U-R. It's the same as Cairo. That says where, Chi, W, the where. It's not the name of the city, that's the last name of the city. It means city, where. And Cairo, whereof. And so it's the T, the mark where X. But this treasure here is in what's right. And it's the less Wakem, some dick, D-I-C-H-T, and some dictum in of what's right. And so dictum means the meaning of. The dictionary is where that comes from. The dictum, D-I-C-H-T-M, the dictum in what's right. The meaning of the words. You don't know the meaning of the words unless you're boony. And if we look over there in the Greek, you'll see that this word for treasure is where your word thesaurus comes from. And you'll see most time it has the exact spelling, the thesaurus, a thesaurus. And you'll find several spellings of it, and often it's spelled exactly as the Greek word for thesaurus, the source. You got to go to the source is where the treasure's at. It means the treasure, the treasury, the storehouse at the source. And it's also called a synonym dictionary, a dictionary of synonyms. And so all the words have three meanings. And so if you speak boon, you're getting a different meaning from the writings. But it's the dictionary, the meaning, and on air, the meaning to put out. And so the less Wakem, the ones that weren't so awake, some dictum in of what's right. They look up the meaning. Sometimes they'll break this word down just to the A-U-X-R, and they'll call it Osar, the treasury. Osar is one of the spellings of Wuzzer. And don't miss that movie I did on that yesterday. But it's plain to see, he's the god of the grain. And they offer him plants, pots. He was the god of the underworld that got dicked. He got killed by his brother, and he cut him up all in parts, because he knew he would come back to life, He was a vine. And so Isis puts him back together, but she can't find his dick. They seem to leave that out. So she used a magic spell that gives her time to become pregnant. And so she gave him the dick, and it was placed here in Adam's circle, the ancient Adam's clock. So she used a magic spell to give time. But in order to do this, she had to have an addictomy. The dictionary is where that come from. Isis and her sister found and buried all the pieces, except the phallus. The Cajuns said that they threw it into the ocean. It was ate by a catfish. And so Isis used the fish to put their semen inside. And that would just read, is official. The serpent in charge, hisses official. Oh, would be that Greek sometime, and the Hebrew too. Oh. And Isaiah knew it's up. He says, I will give the treasure of the darkness and hidden. So in this Job 38, they say it's God challenges Job. But what it says is, why on, who on, how on you had a job of the Menasor. And all these lines and stuff here means this was written two different ways. And so you can read it backwards here. But if you just know the basics, you're reading this as why on you had a job. The menace, the problem, the menace of. And this little dot here is telling you to read the E before the R. The menace of here, why-emmer. Why-emmer is somebody questioning everything. Why am? And he's a philosopher. A philosopher. Why am I here? What is it all about? What is life all about? And why on you had a job, the means of here, why am er? What's the meaning of life? And you see here, the understanding is now the vine, V-I-N-E. And who has put in the mind wisdom, or who has given of the sect who vine. And he's talking about that sect of religion down there in South America, where the vine told them how to make the mix. And so, have you entered into the treasury is have it. To have it all at its root. Have it all its root is ledge. The root is spoken, the ledge. What's root? In red. In the red trees. So I figured this out about the same time I started studying this Hebrew real good. And so if you want to see the treasury of hell, have you seen, you can you might still be able to order it online. You order some red dye, and it comes from South America. It comes from the tree's root. The root in red trees. And I had figured this out years ago, and I ordered some. And I had cooked up some of this commits the chili offer. And I met death. And what happens is you see the other side, and you see that everything's created with music and love. And then when you come back, you make a piss poor slave. You see that everything you thought was important in life means nothing anymore. And so that's the whole reason they spent no telling how much to keep people from knowing this. They try to tell you what God is, but if you commit the chili offer, you're going to meet God, and you're going to come back, and you're not going to make a good slave anymore. You're not going to go to church and pay the preacher to tell you lies anymore. You're not going to work your ass off trying to create a retirement that's just not going to be there when it comes that time. The outside shall destroy. All the wars and all the killing of all the people, that's what it's all been about. They create these wars trying to destroy knowledge. They create a war and rumors of war, and they move a people out to a new home where they don't understand the writings, and they keep shifting people around and trying to destroy all the ancient knowledge. And that's what's going on now. They know what I'm doing. They know the world's fixing to wake up, and so they're trying to destroy everything again. But the only thing going to be destroyed is Israel. And it says plainly, assure any not in loving Israel. Nobody's going to love Israel. And if you want to learn how to cook up some of this venom of the serpent, you can go to my playlist, Facts You Need to Know. And this first one, the DMT workshop, it's not near as hard as it is here. It can be done a whole lot easier. It can be done with 2 hippies in a pot. And the reason it takes 2 hippies is because only one of them has a shirt. If you have a shirt, it only takes 1 hippie. But this video will show you a clinical way to do it. But it can be done with things that's no farther than your yard away. And I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.